Hello and welcome to another Tamar Talks Media video. This particular video is basically going to be some research into, as you can see on my screen, film magazine front covers really. This is for my ancillary task 1. So let's get on with it really. In this video I'm going to be researching into the two film covers that you can see on my screen, and then I'll probably do another video where I will research into 2 more. In both videos I'm going to be researching and sort of comparing them to see the difference between the 2 brands of magazine front covers, etc, etc. So let's get on with it really. As you can see, I have chosen, as I've said, 2 magazine front covers. One is from 2015, this one here is from 2015, and this one here is from 2010, I think. 2010? Yeah, 2010. And this one is from the magazine Empire, and this one is from Total Film. And they're both very different. The main difference obviously is the fact that in this front cover, the actor, so Tom Hardy, is actually in character for this photo, and in this one Tom Felton is quite clearly not in character but does have some blood on his face. In both these film front covers though, the actors' heads, as you can see, are actually in front of the name of the magazine, so clearly that's something that happens quite a lot. They've also both got a lot of writing down the side of them. This one here has got the name of the film that Tom Hardy's in, so Mad Max Fury Road, and talks a little bit, or has a little line, you know, to try and like draw the audience in. It's also got another exclusive for a different film that's going to be happening, so that's Ghostbusters 3, and that's an exclusive. Down the bottom it's got another popular film, so you've got Star Wars Force Awakens, which is what everyone's very excited for. And then there's also a little bit which isn't about films, but it's about the Oscars, so you know it varies from films to sort of award shows. In the actual title, in the M of the title, you have the Empire website, you have the issue of the the month of that this issue has come out, so February 2015, and the price in English in England and the price in America, so £3.99 for a Empire magazine in England and $9.99 in America. At the top here you've also got the 21 films to see this year, so that's clearly something that's actually going to be inside of the magazine. And obviously down in the bottom left hand corner you've got the barcode for when you buy it in the shop. So moving on to the Total Film one, at the top you've got, like in this one, you've got the Modern Guide to Movies, but I think that is actually the slogan for the film magazine. But again, like in the Empire one, in the M you've got the month that this issue came out. You've also got the issue number in this one, so issue 173, and you've also got the what's it called, the website, but there is no price on this one that I can see so far. Again, like another similarities you've got in the left hand corner, you've got the barcode for when you buy it. There's not really any exclusive on films in this one. This is clearly a Tom Felton special edition as it says here, but it again like says a few lines that will entice you in, like in this one it entices you in, and then it has a bit in a smaller font, different font, that shows that it is an exclusive. It says the world's best access to Deathly Hallows Part 1, so clearly it is an exclusive, and if you actually have to pick up the magazine though to be able to see that, as it's in quite small font. On the other side you've got who else is going to be in the magazine, so who else has got an article in the magazine. So you've got Andrew Garfield talking about Spider-Man the film, Simon Pegg talking about Mission Impossible 4, and Rosario Dawson talking about Sin City 2. So it does have exclusives, but they're just not as obvious as the exclusives that can be seen on this one. So you've got Ghostbusters 3 quite big writing. It's got a black background, so you're immediately drawn to it, whereas this one you have to actually sort of read it. Although we have got the films in bold, you're just more sort of drawn to the speaking bit as it's in blue and with a blue background and white writing. Underneath that you have Screaming, the 25 greatest horror movies of all time. So like this one's got the 21 films to see this year, this has got another sort of countdown, so the 25 greatest horror movies of all time. So they've both sort of got what they call sort of like, or what they call polls. Are they called polls? I think they're called polls of what films you should be looking at, what films you should be watching. And another thing, they've got Smoking on the set of Mad Men. So this is actually a TV programme, so I'm not really sure what's on it. Film magazine front cover, but you know it's on there. And they've also got in a little star thing over here, the world's best movie reviews. So clearly that's going to tie someone in, so if they like reading movie reviews to see if they should go watch the film, to see if they should buy the film on DVD, then they know that this is sort of the place to go, as they've got the, and I quote, world's best movie reviews. So that's obviously all entices the audience in. So yeah, that's basically what's on the front covers. Now I did a little bit of comparison in that, but I'm probably going to compare some more now, I hope you don't mind. So yeah, like when you're comparing them, obviously you've got the two actors central in the middle of both front covers, but there's a difference, and obviously Tom Hardy is in his Mad Max character in this one, and Tom Felton is actually out of character in this one. I feel that this one sort of more takes my eye a little bit more because he's out of character. And he's just got the blood splattered across his face, which I think is quite a nice touch, because you sort of like makes you wonder, is it for a film or is it just for a photo shoot or something? So I think that kind of would entice an audience in, because obviously it drew me to it when I was searching for them on Google. And this one would draw me in as well, because obviously you've got him in character, and if you like the Mad Max film, clearly you're going to want to read it. They both sort of use, by the looks of it, the same sort of fonts for their titles. So Empire and Total Film, they both sort of, as you can see, they've both got sort of the same M that goes down quite deep, so they can fit the writing in the M. I think this one, like the, what's it called? The big banner across here, the 2015 previews, I think that would draw people in as well. So I think that's sort of quite a good thing to have on a front cover, because it's in big red writing or big bold red banner that matches the red of the actual text on the top. You're sort of gonna be enticed in, and your eyes are automatically gonna be drawn to it, really. And this front cover is very plain, whereas this front cover is very sort of in your face, because obviously you've got the reds and the whites, and they're all in very bold, very large fonts, whereas this one has sort of got more handwritten fonts and lighter colours like blues and greys instead of like reds, which obviously usually connote blood and or romance, whereas blues are just, it's sort of a nice pale colour that's usually either sadness or like calmness, really. So I think it sort of depends what kind of look you want to go for your magazine, really, whether you want it to be really bold and out there and daring, or whether you want it to be sort of calm and collected like this one is. Another thing I've noticed is that with the Mad Max front cover, they've actually got, as well as him in character, they've got in the background, they've got him in, obviously as he is in character, they've got the background matching the film. So this is probably a background from the location of the film, whereas in this one, as he's not in character, he's just simply on a plain white background. This, like, because he's on a plain white background, Tom Felton does actually stand out a lot more, because obviously he's wearing black and the red stands out like really quite a lot from the white background, whereas on this one I would say Tom Hardy sort of like blends in, like his legs definitely blend into the background at the bottom. But I think if I saw them both in the shop, I think they both take my eye, really, because they're both all quite like bold in some aspects. With this one, obviously you've got the big film, so obviously if you're going to look for a film magazine, you're going to see the words film, whereas this one you might not necessarily know that it's about film, as it's called Empire, unless you knew about the Empire magazine. Another thing I quite like is this thing at the bottom. So sort of like once if you're scan reading it, it is the last thing you're going to see. So that has also got to entice you in case you haven't really made your mind up about reading the magazine yet. So I do quite like this, but this one doesn't obviously have that. It just, like, you have to read into the magazine, like into the cover a lot more than you do on this one, as this one just sort of tells you exactly what's going to be in it. Gives you not even little snippets of it, but just exactly what's going to be in it. And that sort of like entices you in, whereas with this one it sort of entices you in obviously once you read it, but because it's in a smaller font you do sort of have to read it, especially with this one here. When you've got the Simon Pegg on Mission Impossible 4 in like grey, you really do have to read it, whereas these ones are all in black, so it makes you sort of think that maybe this Simon Pegg on Mission Impossible 4 isn't the sort of best article in the world, but they've still stuck it on there because they wanted something in that space. So I think I've said this before, but the Empire magazine front cover is sort of very busy and everything is sort of very crowded around the character. So there's not really much space. Obviously the banner for the Empire, name of the company or like the magazine, is quite large, and as all the other fonts are very large. So you've got like the Mad Max Fury Road, that is quite like large font, and then you've got this massive banner across here which is all in, again, like really large font. Everything is sort of squished in. There's like what, a tiny bit of space here and a tiny bit of space here for you to fit any more in. So it is a very busy magazine front cover. Because it is so busy, it does draw people's eyes to it, as like, because there's so much writing on it, but it's so small, not so small, but so large and like so short sort of sentences. You sort of like, whoa, wait, let me read it really quickly. And which is a lot different with the Total Film one, which has a lot more space for you to like write more things. You've got like, this space here, a space up here, space up here, as all the font is a lot smaller, and the largest font on there is literally the banner for the magazine name. I suppose the next biggest font would be the one in the Tom Felton special edition part, which obviously is what the magazine editors wanted you to see clearly. So they've put this in the biggest font, so like No School, No Rules, Potter's Bad Boy Gets Nasty. As it's quite short sentences as well, so like No School is one sentence, No Rules, and the longest sentence on it really, in fact on this whole magazine really, is either Potter's Bad Boy Gets Nasty or The World's Best Access to Deathly Hallows Part 1. So clearly they like this one, they use short sentences, because they've put it in smaller fonts, you do have to read it a lot more closely, or like have the magazine a lot more close to you. But I suppose that means that if you've picked up the magazine to actually read what's on it, it means you're probably more likely to buy it, but then maybe you won't even pick it up in the first place because you can't be bothered to read it because it is so small. Maybe you haven't got good eyesight. You never know. But like on the other side, the font does get smaller, which I'm not really a fan of, like how small this, especially this font here, is speaking, because you think that the fact that they're talking to such sort of like high-end actors like Andrew Garfield and Rosario Dawson and Simon Pegg, like they would want people to know that. So if that was me, I would have put that in like larger font, I'm not going to lie to you. But maybe they didn't want to do that, so they put it in a small font, maybe so that you do have to pick it up and actually read it before you actually find out what's going on. But I don't know, it works for them clearly. Obviously they want more focus on the 25 greatest horror movies of all times again, because they've got this in black and they've got it in a larger font than the other stuff on this side. But again, like, it's not in the biggest font, so if they really did want you to see it, like, you can't really tell, if you get me. So in conclusion really, these two magazines are sort of very, very different. Obviously you've got the actor in character in Empire and the actor out of character in Total Film. So that's something I'm sort of might research into with a little bit of audience research to see what people prefer, if they prefer the actors of the film, if it's for a film special, whether they want the actor to be in character or out of character. So that's quite a good question actually to ask, so that's, you know, a good discovery in this video. Also with like the busier magazine front cover and the less busy, so sort of like with the smaller fonts, I don't really think I'm a massive fan of that, but then I'm not the biggest fan of how busy this is. So I suppose if like when I make my own one, I might sort of decide that I still want the bigger fonts, but I may have the bigger fonts set out a lot more like this sort of like cleaner one, rather than this one where everything is placed just everywhere really. Though clearly I will probably have to have the barcode in the left hand corner, because that seems like, I'm sure I'll find out more when I do my second video, but it seems like that's what most magazines have in the bottom left corner, either horizontal or vertically. I do quite like this, so this might feature in my magazine front cover, the banner at the bottom after you've read all the way down. Another thing that I'll probably have to feature in my magazine front cover will be the what they call this, the information that are in these M's will have to be in, not necessarily an M, depending on what I call my magazine, but will have to be sort of embedded into another letter. So if I called mine, instead of Total Film, like Crime Film Central, I might put it in either the M of the crime or the M of the film, or I could even put it in the F. So it all sort of depends again what I call it, but they will definitely have to be sort of not embedded into the name of my magazine, but sort of located very close to it. So yeah, that's this video, that's me concluding this video. So until next time, I shall see you later. I hope you've enjoyed this particular video, and well, you better have done, because there's another one to come soon. So yeah, thank you for watching, and for now I shall see you later. Goodbye.